Okay. That was a good reminder to record the meeting. So you can turn your face camera off at any time, and this will be posted to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is our name, our username, if you want to take a screenshot of that. And you can come back and watch the video at any time. So Wellness Wednesdays are under the Healthy Aging Association, and the purpose of them is to provide our community members education and promote safe aging, independence, and self-assurance. So our mission is to help older Americans live longer, healthier, more independent lives by promoting increased physical activity and sound health and nutrition practices. We do exercise instruction through our Young at Heart strength training class. And then we have our Green Bag program, which is a nutrition program, as well as our Dignity at Home program and a few others. So we'll define activities of daily living first. You might hear me refer to them as ADLs as an acronym. They are basically self-care tasks that are performed every day, and they're dependent on activities of daily living are dependent on movement, right? So reaching, bending, standing, you can't separate the two. And for example, hygienic practices. So movement and this activity of daily living include washing your hands, your back, your legs, your hair, and it will require bending, reaching, endurance, balance, functional mobility. So that can look like getting in and out of bed, getting in and out of your car, off of the toilet, in chairs. Those activities of daily living really require muscular strength, balance, endurance, and coordination. And then feeding and drinking, right? So holding a spoon or fork to your mouth, or being able to cut your food into smaller pieces, holding or drinking out of a cup without spilling anything. Dressing is an activity of daily living, and it requires movements such as reaching your arms over your head to put on your sweatshirts, your t-shirts, fastening your buttons on your shirts, and zipping up sweaters, zipping up pants, and then bending to put on your undergarments or pants, as well as your socks and shoes. And lastly, an activity of daily living includes grooming. So these tasks can look like brushing your hair, blow drying it, styling your hair, right? We're having to use that movement that we perform every day, basically. Clipping your fingernails and toes. So that requires balance, flexibility, and fine motor control with your hands, and then shaving your face or body. So that is kind of a background of what activities of daily living are, how they interconnect with movement. For adaptive equipment is any assistive device or everyday item that helps individuals with functional limitations and special needs to perform activities of daily living. So they help increase life longevity, reduce risk of falling, and they are great in promoting self-reliance, identity, and social inclusion. So as we age, some individuals may experience a loss of independence, and it really takes a toll on your physical health, your mental health, how you communicate, and how you are integrated into your community. So in your church, it can look like finances, because your occupation might be impacted if you are not able to perform ADLs. Your home environment, meaning You may have a messier home because you're not able to clean up. And then your fun and recreation as well. It can really impact that. So just something to think of. And we can help ourselves by using adaptive equipment. So for example, these pieces of equipment, there's many, and we'll cover a few today, and then our guest speakers, Luis and Jordan, will also dive into them. But the loss of independence, we can use these pieces of equipment like a shoehorn. So a shoehorn helps you limit having to bend over and allows you to put your shoes on more safely. I did include the cost here. You can find these adaptive devices, tools, equipment on Amazon, but I recommend Performance Health. It's a reliable source for your equipment. And then we have the sock aid. So the sock aid, similar to the shoehorn, it limits bending and having to hassle with your arms and reaching, so you can put your socks on more comfortably. And then we have the dressing stick as for the dressing aids. And they have little hooks down here. They can help you put on zippers. They can help you pull up your pants or even wrap sweatshirts around your arm. It's a really great tool. And I do recommend that if you're experiencing mobility issues with shoulders or your neck or what have it. So those are the dressing aids. Now, the reaching aids, here on the left screen, we have grabbers or reachers. The top picture here is a long handle, and this is great for reaching up in the cabinet and pulling down items. Picking items up off of the floor. Say you drop medication and you have young children in your house or animals, you want to pick that up as soon as possible. So it can help you pick up medication. It can help you, pick up everyday items. Short and long are great to help you load and unload the washer and dryer, making your beds, feeding your animals, right? So this is a great tool, and it can definitely improve your quality of life by allowing you to do activities of daily living. We have a wiping aid here, or a toilet aid, and wiping after toileting really requires us to bend and reach back behind the body. It might be a really difficult task for you. So this is a great aid if you struggle with that activity of daily living. And finally, we have the scrub sponge for your reaching aid. So you can use this for multiple things. They do have ones with loofahs too. This is just a standard sponge on the tip of it, but the loofah you can use in the shower to get behind your back. This movement can be fairly tough for some individuals, especially as we age. But you can also use the scrub end to scrub your countertops, right? So you're not having to bend over and throwing yourself off balance and potentially leading to a fall. So those are some great reaching aids that I highly recommend you incorporate into your daily lives. And then we have our shower aids, right? So our transfer benches, stools, chairs for the shower. Showering requires you to stand for prolonged periods of times, right? Usually 10 minutes or so to take a shower, and that can be really difficult to do. Even trying to get over, if you have like a shower tub combo, that can be a really high step over for some people, which is why on the left we have the transfer bench, and that makes it safer and easier to get in and out of the shower. So I totally recommend that. If you have issues with muscular endurance, but you are able to step over, if your shower height is pretty small, then maybe a stool might be the best option for you. And then I wanted to throw in adaptive fashion. So I'm not gonna, go into Vogue like topics here, but I do want to talk about the importance of fashion. So I read an article, and Lydia O, she's from the American Occupational Therapy Association. She highlights the importance of adaptive fashion accessories. And adaptive fashion helps individuals maintain independence, dignity, especially when dressing becomes a challenge due to conditions like arthritis or tremors from Parkinson's or just mobility impairments, right? So Lydia O examples Velcro shoelaces in replace of tie shoelaces if those fine motor skills in your hands due to the arthritis or tremors from Parkinson's make it really hard for you to tie up your shoelaces. Maybe get a pair of shoes that have Velcro shoelaces. Replacing your buttons with magnetic closures. Now, there are YouTube videos that show you how to switch out your buttons, but it's another great piece of adaptive fashion that I recommend. And then Lydia also states that for those who use wheelchairs, clothing should have snaps along the sides of the pants. You should be wearing, elastic waistbands with a higher waistline in the back, and then longer zipper pulls right on your sweaters, but on your pants, and then no back pockets on your pants, and this reduces pressure, which prevents ulcers, abscesses, things that are very uncomfortable. So just a couple of fun things that we could swap out to make our lives easier. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Jordan and Luis and let them dive into their presentation.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan, and this is Luis here as a physical therapy student. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that actually Morgan's touched on already, just different ways to improve your function, use some of assistive devices to kind of make things easier throughout the day. So I'm going to hand it over to Luis. He's going to get you going.
Hi everyone, Luis. And some things that we want to go over to start off with is how you can modify your home environment to maybe make things a little bit easier. Some of like the common household spaces are like the bedroom, the hallway, restrooms, kitchens or living rooms, and a little bit of outdoors. It's I believe it's important to know that most handymen will install a lot of this equipment with ease. Most of the equipment listed here doesn't require any kind of hard labor. So, I mean, a lot of professionals should not feel uncomfortable being able to install this for you at a reasonable cost, reasonable timeline. But in terms of the bedroom, if you're someone who maybe is restricted to the bedroom area momentarily, something that can help is the bedside commode. If you have grab bars to move in and out of bed or other areas in the household, like helping get into the shower, those are helpful as well. There's the trapeze grab bar, which can help with bed transfers.
Yeah.
Bed rails too can make transferring in and out of the bed. I would just say that make sure those bed rails can also be adjusted so that you don't feel stuck in the bedroom either. Slide boards are another good resource, which are very helpful with transferring from the bed to, let's say, a wheelchair. One thing with the slide boards, can you hand me the slide board there? Is that they usually have two ends. You want to make sure the one that has a little ramp up is the side that you are sitting on. And you definitely want to avoid wrapping around this. I mean, right now it seems like nothing, but if you're going to be sitting on this and you can imagine bringing your weight on top of this board and your fingers are wrapped around, that probably won't feel so good.
All right.
Hallway, it's nice to have night lights. I have night lights in my hallway too. A nice little blue butterfly night light. It's more than enough.
I'll definitely put a little emphasis on having enough lighting in the hallways when you're walking, especially if you're one to have a little bit difficulty with balance. The more lighting we have, the more we can rely on our visual systems, especially as vision deteriorates. My vision's pretty bad right now, so if I don't have my contacts on, if it's dark, I can't see anything, and so it messes with your balance a lot more than you think. So having night lights or just something in general to light up the hallway if you go to the bathroom at night, it can make a huge difference.
All right. In terms of the restroom, shower shelves are also something that could be very beneficial. A lot of times we tend to put our shampoos like up on the window sill right there, and it's sometimes it can be pretty high up to reach up there, bring the bottle down to you. So maybe having a little shelf or a caddy that can attach to the shower itself or around the shower head and bring those products lower to you, maybe at eye level, could be very beneficial. An elevated commode, especially if you've had, let's say, some kind of surgery. I'm thinking like a hip replacement, and your surgeon says do not bend the hip past this point. Having an elevated commode can make it easier to go to the restroom while still maintaining the restrictions that were given. You want to talk about the grab bars for the restroom? So,
Oh, gotcha. So I'm actually curious a little bit, Morgan, to see what they teach, what you've heard about this. But in terms of using like the suction based grab bars, so like handles and stuff, from what I've always been told, it's usually kind of a less I guess less safe thing to do because if you go to put weight onto something like a suction into the bathroom and it doesn't quite hold on to you very well, that it kind of could create an even bigger hazard for you when you're say expecting something to be pretty stable. I'm actually curious to hear your opinion on it too, what you've heard about
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, good question. Uh, really don't recommend the suction cups, particularly in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So the issue with suction cups in the shower is very wet. So we, I'm not sure if anyone's experienced this, but in my home, we have like a suction cup little stand to where we keep our dish sponges on. And it slips so easily. So imagine having to rely on that suction cup, right, in a wet area, and it's just more likely to slip on you, not to mention eroding. And the possibility of mold. So, we really want to watch out for that as well because mold can accumulate in those areas. And we certainly recommend like a stainless steel option. I'm not a fan of the section, but in some areas they are appropriate. I just don't recommend them for the bathroom.
Okay.
and continue with the remainder of the restroom section here. Morgan, you definitely touched upon the shower chair, so skip that. But non-slip mats are something I definitely use as well. They're very light, very easy to use. If you can have someone just buy one for you, help you install it, that that could work very well for you. The only thing is that you would have to bend over because at least the one I have, it's going to go on the floor. So if you have any kind of difficulties with bending over, that's where getting help from family members can be of big service to you. In terms of the kitchen, non-slip mats are also very helpful. Um, I would just say with the non-slip mats in the kitchen, something that can be beneficial is making sure that the mat is thin. My family personally likes to use the very big cushiony ones, especially if they're doing dishes, because it feels good on their feet. The only issue with that is that the more cushion you have on your foot, the less sensation you're going to feel and the more off balance you'll probably feel. So if you're going to get mats, make sure that they're pretty thin. Countertop storage, if you can bring it down closer to you, that'd also be a big service. Do you have anything to say about the portable shelves?
Not too much there now.
Moving on to the living room, cord covers are very helpful. there is cord covers that you can use that go a very long way. Um, it can vary from like 5 feet to like 20 feet. You just want to make sure that whatever cords you do have, they are either covered up or that they are stored in a near the device that they're going to be plugged into. So you don't want to connect the cord to the TV like across the living room and your TV's in a whole separate area. Try to keep the um, outlet close to the device that it's powering. Outdoors, if there's opportunity for ramps, I would definitely recommend those. It makes things easier for yourself, but if you have someone who is helping you, let's say you're in a wheelchair and they're helping you go up, it makes it easier for your caregiver too, because you are a team. In order for both of you to be well, you need to work together. The ramps, they can get kind of heavy, so that's something to also consider. There is a strength requirement to it. Hoses, there is those roll-up storage bins where you could attach the hose and then there's a handle on the side and it'll roll it up for you so that it's not just in the yard. It also makes it easier to move around if you need to. Big one is definitely avoiding standing on things, and I have done this before too, with bad results. Like buckets, buckets are not meant to be stood on. I found that out, or even plastic chairs. Definitely, if you're going to be standing on something, make sure that's the purpose of the item, and always look to see how kind of like the weight restrictions and what it should and shouldn't be used for. I know a lot of ladders, they say, do not go all the way to the top. You still want to have some good support. So read the instructions on how to use the specific uh, form of step stool you're using.
Yeah, I'm gonna further emphasize too the cord covers and like rolling up things like hoses, anything that's like a long string kind of material. I'm guilty of it myself again, leaving stuff on the floor, and then it very easily wraps up on your feet, and most of the time you can step over it and you'll be just fine. But the one time you're not looking, that's when it's gonna kind of wrap around your foot. So having something over the cord or having it tucked away is really, really important. I can't tell you how many times I hear of stories like that where somebody would just walk in, the cord's always there. It's been there for a year, and then the one time it just kind of grabbed the leg a little bit, and then unfortunately had resulting injuries. So really wanted to emphasize that, and then the standing on objects as well. Again, another thing I'm guilty of myself, but that's another story I hear a lot. Just like went up to stand on something, I probably shouldn't have been standing on it, and it kind of went down. So just really being careful with those things, kind of paying attention to what your limitations are. And then if something doesn't seem like a good idea, but you're kind of thinking about it, probably ease on the side of caution. It's usually the more safer side. It can prevent some complications later on. I think we're good for the next one.
Yeah, I think we're good for the next slide. Do we have any questions so far?
I think we're all good.
Elaine, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Okay.
And I don't know if everybody knows, but Healthy Aging did come out and check my house for safety issues, and the non-slip carpets, they did not recommend them because, like you say, there are some that are thicker, but even the thin ones are enough to grab your shoe just wrong and throw you down or something like that. So they didn't recommend those. And the other thing, yeah, I totally agree with the suction shower thing. And they installed the metal ones for me, and I am very happy to have those. Um, but I do have one question. Are you going to talk about balance issues of any kind? Because that's something that I really need to know about.
Yeah, we have a couple slides up coming up, and if not, we can have time for questions at the end. I'll totally answer as many questions as we need to.
Thank you for
Okay.
thanks, Elaine. I appreciate it. Okay.
All right, so sideboards, we kind of already touched upon it, but I'll still review it. The good thing about slide boards is that you can transfer along the board. And big thing, you do not want your feet to be touching the ground. If you could avoid it, if your feet touch the ground, I mean, and you can't avoid it, then it has to be that way. But really, with a slide board, you want to, as much as possible, really transfer yourself along the board. And very good if maybe some other restrictions you have are, I don't want you weight bearing through your ankles right now, or uh, if we have stroke survivor patients too, these are very helpful because it still allows them to move themselves, be independent without there's still going to be some struggle. There is going to be upper arm strength requirements, but it's a good way to still remain independent as much as you can. The shower board definitely allows a transfer between the shower and the outside and outside back to the shower with ease, but those can get pretty big. So it does have a room requirement that needs to be met. You don't want to be trying to get into the shower, trying to squeeze in between your toilet and the chair itself just to get into the tub. Grab bars, we did talk about those, but here's a suction cut bar that we were talking about. We have it on one of our fridges. So something like this, if you can imagine, it's on a smooth surface. As that smooth surface were to get wet, it would become very, very slippery. Gait belts are definitely something that we use here in the clinic and are very helpful for helping our patients maintain balance. And it also helps us guard them a lot better. It's really more for safety, and the gait belt should not if somebody is using a gait belt with you, they should not be moving you around a lot with it. It's not for us to be able to manipulate your movements. It's more for safety and concerns of a fall. So definitely a lot of it is more on your ability to transverse through the environment. Any kind of procedures done on the body, you definitely don't want to put gait belts over that. Any kind of tubing, if the gait belt's too tight, it'll interfere with it. I would always make sure that you check in with your surgeon or doctor before you attempt using a gait belt around any kind of tubing or wounds that have been made either to the front or to the side or back of the body. Add anything?
No, I think we're good there. I think the next one.
All
Okay.
right, I think we're good on the slide. So
Okay,
avoiding
that's a lot of these too. Yeah. Go ahead.
So avoiding falls with transfers, the biggest one for like to start is definitely go over the plan with the person helping you transfer, or for them to go over the plan with you.
Or even if you're by yourself, just know exactly what you're planning to do and where you're going to go before you go to attempt to move around. That helps a lot with avoiding unnecessarily kind of getting off balance when you're moving around.
Yeah, so definitely know where you're going to be moving from, if it's to bed to a chair, or whether it's going to be chair to the bed. Definitely know the surface you're going to be exiting, the surface you're going to be entering, and have the path of least resistance. Have the easiest way to get there that's safe. You also want to make sure the environment is clear of unnecessary clutter. Sometimes it can be easy to say, "Oh no, it's not a big deal. It's just a shoe. I'll step over it." Sometimes all it takes is that one shoe. So definitely make sure you have your environment clear of anything that seems unnecessary. If it's not going to help you transfer, it's probably unnecessary. Definitely position the surface you're going to be exiting close to the surface you're going to be entering into. So if there's a way to, even if you're going to transfer from the bed to a chair, try to get that chair as close as you can to the bed. It just makes transferring it's easier to transfer a shorter distance than it is to transfer a longer distance.
Okay, I think we're good for the next one there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then some of the musculature, which I mean, for PT school, something that we had to really know uh, is the muscles you're using with certain movements, and really it's a total body effort. So if you feel, as soon as I stood up, my whole body just felt so tired, like that was really hard. Or maybe it didn't, maybe it felt easy. But realistically, what we're showing you here is just the key muscles that tend to be used, but just know it's a whole body effort. The sit to stand, you'll be using the quadriceps, the abdominals, the big buttock muscles, and some smaller muscles in your back that help you stabilize. I'm gonna show sit to stand real quick.
They're good on that. Just really emphasizing and making sure that we're keeping up on those muscles. And again, I think Elaine, I think was the one who asked, if those muscles are strong and are prepared to handle the demands that we're going to be placing on the body, it's less likely you're going to lose your balance. And so keeping those muscles strong throughout by doing workouts or just even walking. That can make a big difference on your balance. So if your body's not able to meet the demands, say if something kind of bumps into you while you're doing a sit to stand, if your muscles aren't strong enough to meet those demands, it can be a little bit harder for them to overcome whatever bump, I guess, that was put into you. So just a couple of the muscles, the quadriceps, they're really important. The front of your thigh muscles, in order to be able to stand. And those also help with your balance as well. Being able to, if you're going to go fall backwards, it'll kind of pull you forward a little bit. Being able to bend your knees for doing sit to stands. If some people may be noticing they fall backwards a little bit when they go to try to stand up, that's maybe something we can work a little bit on the glutes, a little bit of hip range of motion. So being able to bend your knee to your chest a little bit further, it can help a lot too with your balance as well. Same thing with like washing your hair. Um, the different set of muscles are going on there. So you have the deltoid, the pec muscle, and the biceps. Those are all gonna be lifting up your arm. So you're gonna bend your arm, you have to lift it up behind you and out to the side. And so it's very important you have one, enough strength to do that, but two, your legs are still working when you're standing up. And so having enough strength in your legs is still an important component to that, especially when you start closing your eyes to wash your hair. Um, Again, you lose that visual aspect of your balance system. And so you'll have to rely on other systems, your muscle systems, your sensation on the bottom of your feet, and different things like that in order to do balance, do those activities safely. Okay, I think good. Next one.
Reaching on high shelves still requires those upper body muscles, the triceps, deltoids, the trapezius muscles here. So whenever you're lifting up your arm it's heavy. The arm is a very heavy object, so definitely requires some strength to be able to go up. Lifting your arm against gravity itself. Turning corners also requires coordination, and if you're interested in balance, and balance is something you want to get back to, working on multi-muscle coordination is very important, especially with turning the hallway. You're often off balance on one leg, you're moving your eyes, so everything needs to be able to work together in order to accomplish that task.
Yeah, then another comment with like turning around corners, but again, related to balance, is kind of keeping your feet a little bit spread apart. Not necessarily to where your feet are wide, but the more narrow your feet are when you're trying to do those turning, it's like when you're standing on one foot versus on 2 feet. You have a little bit more of a base when your feet are a little bit further apart. If I put my feet together and have Luis push me, it's a lot easier for him to push me over compared to if my feet are a little bit further apart. So give yourself a little bit wider base of support. Definitely makes a big difference when you're turning. It can help prevent you from kind of teetering over if you say turn really quickly, you're not paying attention to something, or if you're holding something really heavy. It just changes your base of support, makes it a little more sturdy. And then on top of that, having enough strength in those muscles to be able to maintain that base. So your glute muscles, your quad muscles, your hamstrings in the back of your thigh, the calf muscles especially are very important, having strong ankles. So just a little extra comment on that. Okay, we're good for the next one.
Picking up objects off the floor, and also putting on your pants requires a lot of upper body and lower body coordination. Some of the muscles that you're going to be using for picking things up off the floor, like your latissimus muscles, like the big back muscles here, the biceps, abdominals, glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings as well. You're also using your back muscles here, the ones that help you stabilize. They all have to work together and have enough strength to be able to handle the force that you're picking up. You're not going to require a lot of muscle force to pick up a pencil off the ground, as if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna pick up like a gallon of milk or something even bigger, like a heavy bowling ball.
Okay, next one there.
Next slide.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the assisted devices and common things that I kind of see with them. So we'll start with the walkers. So there's different types of walkers, and each one's going to be different for I guess the goal you're trying to go for. So there's the front wheel walker. That's your pretty standard one that you can see on the right there. Um, there's the four wheels that has, instead of the tennis balls, will have another wheel on it. It's a little bit less stable, but a little more mobile. So you kind of have to compromise with there. The rollator walker, that's the one that a lot of people actually use. It's the ones with the four wheels and they have the seat that you can kind of sit down with. We'll talk a little bit about that too. And then say that you have some kind of injury to your arm, there's also platform walkers. Usually that would be kind of prescribed to you after some kind of injury to your hand where you can't put weight through your hand. There's a way you can put it kind of through the forearm, but that's something to definitely talk to your doctor about. They can help you out with that. But generally, walkers, the purpose of them is either to decrease weight bearing on one of the limbs of the lower extremities. So, say if you have an injury, you hurt your ankle, you can kind of offload that with your hands a little bit so that you don't have to put so much weight. And then the other reason is for balance. So, you kind of have to play a game between mobility and stability. The more mobility you have, the easier it is to maneuver, the less stable it is. So a front wheel walker is a pretty stable one. It's harder to move around, but it's still fairly movable. It's usually pretty light, but it's pretty stable. You can put a lot of weight through that thing, and it's not going to go anywhere. Versus a rollator walker, the ones with the seat and the four wheels that a lot of people have, um, it does provide some stability, definitely, but it's very mobile. So if you put weight through that, if it's not putting weight straight, it's going to keep rolling. And so what rollator walkers are really good for is helping with endurance. So it's able to move easily, gives you just enough support to be able to walk pretty easily, but it also has a chair. So if you need to sit down, taking rest breaks is very important. If you're really tired, get fatigued, you walk too far, or maybe decided to do a little bit too much throughout the day, the muscles are a little bit more fatigued and therefore less likely to be able to support your body weight. And so just keeping that in mind when selecting what kind of assisted device you want to go for. And then there's a lot of attachments too that you can put on walkers. OTs are really good with um, occupational therapists are really good with recommending these. So there's like little foldable trays, cup holders that just kind of freeing up your hands a little bit more so that way you can focus more on what your balance and putting the weight through the walker rather than holding some cup, say, in your hand. Um, and then, so a little bit about canes. So you have the single point cane. That's the pretty standard one you can see on the left. There you go, on the left side there. And then you have the quad cane. Again, it's a little more stable. It has some four legs on it, so you can put some weight through those usually. So it kind of has a similar purpose as the walker versus the single point cane, which is the one peg. You can put a little bit of weight there. It does help definitely for reducing weight bearing on the other leg. But it's a lot less stable. I wouldn't put too much weight on that. Um, so yeah, again, they do provide some assistance, very light, easy to maneuver. So if you're someone who maybe just needs a little bit of help with maybe some balance, it's not enough to where you need a walker, but just a little bit of, I guess, extra little safety support. Um, then that might be a good choice for you. But definitely, again, just talk to your doctor. On what would be the most recommended device there too, or even a physical therapist might be able to help you out with that. Okay, I think we're good to the next one. This one's a really important one I wanted to talk about because I see this all the time. Whether you're coming out of surgery or just generally using the walkers, is making sure that they're fitted correctly to your height. If your arms are really up here and you're trying to put weight through, you don't have much leverage to use the assistive device. And sometimes even the quad canes, we might have a picture later on. Sometimes people are using them backwards and they never know because it can be very confusing, understandably. Um, And so with the cane and walker, you generally want the handles to go about right to like to the wrist height when you have your arm at your side. We have a picture later on too. I'll show you guys. Um, and that'll kind of give you a good about 30 degrees of bending in the elbow. So just very slight. And that way you can have enough leverage to put your arms and put some weight through those arms. Um, and then again, yeah, facing the quad cane correctly. I'll show you guys a picture of what that looks like. And then when you're walking with, say, a cane or the walker, you usually want to put if you have, say, one leg that's a little bit weaker or a little bit painful, you want to put the cane um, and that leg that's a little bit weaker, you want to step with those at relatively the same time, if not the assistive device first. So if you're using a walker, you want to go walker first, then the leg that's a little bit less strong or a little bit less tolerant to weight bearing, and then put the other leg forward. It just kind of optimizes your ability to kind of offload that leg that's a little bit more uncomfortable with weight bearing. We're good to the next one, yeah. Oh, I guess we didn't put the pictures. I thought we did.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I think you did. I think they're here.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we'll go back then. I'll adjust that later. Um, so we kind of touched a little bit on these, just reasons for falls as we age, and not even as we age necessarily, but as our how do I say that? The age itself is not the problem, the issue. It's more of the behaviors, the lack of activity. If that's a complication, maybe some kind of like hearing deficit or things like that, eyesight deficit, sensation deficits. If you have some numbness on the bottom of your feet, those are things that can help exacerbate falls. And then selecting footwear is really important. I'll touch a little bit about that here in a second as well. Just making sure you have a stable shoe. That's optimal for whatever foot type that you have. And then again, really big on environmental safety hazards. We're talking a lot about assistive devices and stuff that you have to purchase, but a lot of the environmental safety hazards, that's all free to correct. Yeah, picking up the shoe off of the floor, moving the cords out of the way. Those are all things that you can fix today without too much difficulty, and it can make a huge difference on maintaining your balance, maintaining your function. We'll go to the next one. So we kind of talked again on just scanning the walkways for hazards, just making sure there's nothing on the floor. Again, loose cords and garden hoses are probably the two most common I hear about. Same thing with the slippery rugs. And then just being careful with reaching for high surfaces. Don't challenge your Spider-Man skills too often, even though I'm guilty myself. Um, there's things we can avoid to prevent further complications down the road. And then learning about your assistive device. Hopefully, I gave you guys enough information there. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask them later. But and we can kind of look over to the right there. Looking at that's a quad cane. So that's actually myself holding the quad cane. So you see how the two legs out to the side away from me are kind of pointing out. They're kind of sticking out a little bit further. That's the one you want to have away from you. If you feel like you're stepping on the walker, the cane a lot, or it's like getting in your way, it might be backwards. So you can sometimes just flip it around using the little buttons. Um, and then that can make a huge difference. And then same thing on the bottom, you can see I kind of fitted it to myself, so my elbow's just a little bit bent, and then when I put my arm to the side, it's about at my wrist height. That's kind of where you want the cane or the walker to be when you're pushing off of it. And then on the far right side, you can kind of see the backwards version where you tried to fix the quad cane, but you didn't turn it correctly. So now it's just backwards. You don't have any leverage to push through. So they're just common things that I've seen, just in case any of that applies to any of you. And then again, just emphasizing the walking in the dark rooms. That makes a huge difference on your walking. I remember for a while for some reason I wasn't able to wear my contacts. I didn't have my glasses, and I tried to go for a run out at night, and I like almost fell many times just because I couldn't see the floor in front of me. I couldn't see anything. It makes a huge difference being able to just have a little bit of lighting. Um, and then selecting proper footwear. That's something a lot you can talk about with like a podiatrist, your primary care. But a lot of things I'm gonna kind of hate a little bit on the Crocs there. They don't have a very good base of support for you. Sometimes can be really slippery. They're not very good for your foot. They can kind of be a little bit abrasive, even though they're really cool and they're comfortable. It sometimes might not always be the best shoe for you. So if you're noticing that you're kind of your foot slides around in the shoe a lot, um, if you feel like it's rubbing on your foot at all, and or if you're slipping a lot, things like that, you don't have enough ankle support. It may be worth looking into some footwear changes that can make a huge difference. Next one.
All right, so this is a good study that I found that kind of addresses the balance and strength deficits that we may want to work on if you don't have a gym membership or access to a personal trainer. But there's that phase one version, it's all seated. But if you want more of a challenge, you can perform any of these standing. But something that'll definitely help uh, with balance. We have three systems. One of them relies on touch, so being able to feel where you're going. The other one is visual, being able to see. And then the third one is structures located in the ear that allow you to know where you're at whenever you're moving through space. So addressing all those three should definitely help address any kind of balance deficits. Some of the exercises here, so seated head turns, challenging your sense of vision here because you have to look at different areas and be able to maintain balance while you're throwing your head off balance. There's eye circles, just looking up and down around calf raises as you're sitting down. You're just going up on your heels, right back down. Weight, shifting your weight from one side to the other while not letting yourself fall over. Marches without using support are definitely very good. So just marching up and down like if you would. Again, you could do any of these standing. In terms of strength, we still want to keep the upper body strong because in case that we do want, or in case that we do want to catch ourselves while we're probably losing balance, we want to be able to have good chest muscles, biceps, triceps to help hold us up. There's ball toss exercises too that are really good, just keeping your eye on the ball as you're tossing it. It's very challenging, following it with your head or just following it with your eyes. Terms of if you feel like you can do more than these sitting exercises, that second part, you can do any of the ones that we did standing. So here, standing with some head turns, calf raises. We can also bring in shoulder exercises in that standing position. The MedBridge code that we have here, you can access. We do have another slide that shows how to access the MedBridge program. There is other exercises there with descriptions as well as sets and repetitions. The study that I found here, the time for all of these exercises was 20 to 30 seconds, 3 sets each, 3 times a week. And that helped, or that showed to improve balance and strength in the individuals who participated in this study. And you do not have to do all of these exercises every single day. You can mix and match, perform them as you want, maybe do for one day or a different day. Don't forget to incorporate rest days too if you are feeling sore.
Yeah, and I just want to throw out to another disclaimer a little bit there. A lot of the exercises we're giving out here, they're not necessarily specific for one person or even yourself. They're more of just examples of things that people can do sometimes to improve their balance. Every individual is going to be different and require different I guess, exercises and prescriptions. And also, everybody has their different limitations as well. And so, before engaging a lot of this stuff, definitely talk to your doctor about it first to make sure that this is something safe for you. For example, like marches without hand support, that might be not be appropriate for everybody. Some people are a little bit less stable from doing that kind of thing, and it might result in getting off balance, injury, things like that. So, these exercises, we're not necessarily telling you to do these specifically. These are just examples to show you guys things that the people in the study that we were referencing were doing to try and help prevent them from falling, improve their balance. And so it's more of an indication that there's ways to improve your balance. Just because you can't do something now doesn't mean that you won't be able to do it later. As long as you work on it. And so I'm going to kind of throw a little plug for physical therapy there. We work a lot with that. And so everybody's program is going to be geared towards them specifically. So just be careful with looking at this slide, selecting out exercises to do. Definitely talk to your doctor before engaging in any of these exercises to make sure it's safe for you to do. That way we don't have any kind of injuries resulting from that. I'd hate to give you something and have something happen as a result of any of those exercises. So just take these exercises as just examples rather than necessarily suggesting to do them specifically.
Thanks for being responsible there, Jordan. Great advice. Appreciate that.
So yeah, so this is one of the programs we hand out to a lot of people. You can go to the website and it has the code there. Just to get an idea of what to look for when you're looking at a balance program. And so if you go to that website, enter in that code, you'll see a couple examples that me and Luis put together. And you guys can just take a look at it. Again, just emphasizing, make sure you talk to your doctor before engaging in any of these exercises, just to make sure they're safe. We don't want to have anybody have an accident, or if there's something that might not be appropriate for somebody. You want to make sure we're clearing that out, especially with like even heart conditions that might not everybody's appropriate for this type of exercise. So make sure you're doing it safely. Get approval from your doctor first. And then again, just making sure, lastly, just prepare your home, clean up the clutter as best as you can. Do the simple things first, and then look towards maybe purchasing some of the assistive devices if you see it fit for yourself, if you think that it can help you with your overall function. And then I think that's it for there. Any
Okay.
questions at all?
Anyone have any questions on what Luis and Jordan covered so far? I have one more slide for you, and then we'll wrap up for the day. But if you have questions about balance, certain exercises, I highly recommend that you utilize their time. Okay.
Oh, I think Elaine's trying to say something.
Hello.
Hi, Sheila. We can
Hi.
hear you. Hi.
Okay. You had the MedBridge Go place site.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to put the information for the code again? I had to go get a pencil and it went away.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, we're unsure. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this part on YouTube right now. So my recommendation is if you have a pen and pencil available, or if you have your iPhone or a Samsung, you take a picture of this right here. If you have a phone, you can scan this QR code. But I'll allow you absolutely a little bit of time. I'll give you about 30 seconds here to write down this information right here. Please get a hold of that resource.
Okay, I'll see if I can get a screen capture because my phone is in the other room.
Okay, sounds good. And if any of you who joined today need the resource, you can email me at intern, INTERN at healthyagingassociation.org. And I'm happy to coordinate with Luis and Jordan on providing you the information.
Oh, brother. I usually don't have technical problems, but I am.
It's okay, Sheila. Don't
And
worry.
now I don't see anybody. I only have the Zoom audio. Let's see.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Oh, wait, there. Maybe, no, Zoom. Oh,
Here, Sheila, here, do you have our main email? The healthy.aging2000 at Gmail?
I may have. I think that I'm back where you're on the screen. And I'm
Okay.
just trying to remember. Yay, I got the screenshot. Yay.
You got it. Okay,
I
perfect.
got it.
Okay, Sheila. I'm going to move on. All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Luis and Jordan. Really enjoyed your presentation. I think you gave everybody some great insight on adaptive equipment, exercise, and muscle function. So I really appreciate your time. I'm going to wrap up with one more slide for the day. I provided some resources, right? So you may not need it now, but you might need it later. And it's always good to keep in your back pocket. Of course, if you're a healthy aging participant at Yoga Heart, you've probably learned about the Aging in Place Dignity at Home. I know that Elaine mentioned that she was part of the Dignity at Home program, and that's great. So we do provide those stainless steel grab bars, handrails, transfer benches, and more to qualifying participants. And items are not guaranteed, but we do our best to work with our contractor. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in this program, you reach out to us. The benefit of this program is that it's no cost to qualifying participants, and that can certainly add up. So the next resource I have for you, I don't know if anybody has heard of it, but there's a medical loan closet here in Modesto, and it's from the Society for Disabilities. They can actually loan at either a low to no cost walkers with seats, transfer boards, as Luis and Jordan showed you today. They even offer wheelchairs and electric scooters. So if you need this, or you know somebody who might need this resource, either reach out to me for Aging in Place and Dignity at Home, or you can contact the Society for Disabilities. You could see what they offer here through their medical loan closet. I recommend taking a picture of this link right here. And you might need a prescription from your doctor for a few things, but it's certainly worth your time to cut down on the cost of this expensive equipment. So that completes everything. Our next Wellness Wednesday is going to be on the 27th of August, and we have Billy Scott from Central Valley Hearing Aid Healthcare to discuss vision and hearing and fall prevention, of course. And here are my resources. The Performance Health, if you are interested in buying any of the adaptive equipment that I showed you today, you can take a screenshot of this URL right here, and you can purchase it from their website. Otherwise, Amazon, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. So Luis and Jordan, do you have anything as far as finishing thoughts, or would you like, to answer questions if they're in the chat? I'm not sure if any more popped up. Let me see.
No, I didn't really have anything further to add. I think we kind of covered everything, but thank you guys for having us. It was a pleasure. And if you guys do have any questions, I might be able to stick around for a couple minutes to answer them to the best of my ability.
Sorry, I know this little black screen's covering it. I'm reading the chat at the moment. Thank you, Jordan. Yes, Nina, we did enter the link in, and Nicole, you are most welcome. And then Jordan and Luis, I know you have patients to get to. Again, we really appreciate it. Your presentation was wonderful, and we're proud to have you here with us today. So thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, please email us.